Anandamai Chaitanyamai Satyamai Parameshwari 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 Namo Gurudev Namo Namo Gurudev Namo Gurudev Gurudev Namo Gurudev Gurudev Namo Namo Gurudev Namo Namo Gurudev Namo Gurudev Gurudev Namo Gurudev Gurudev Namo Namo Gurudev Namo Namo Gurudev Namo Gurudev Gurudev Namo Gurudev Gurudev Namo Namo Gurudev Namo Namo Gurudev Namo. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Global Heart Meditation. We had someone, yours truly, warming up the space while you guys were joining. So welcome, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it sounded okay, because I have no way of really knowing how it's going to sound, because I kind of decided to grab the guitar at the very last moment. All right, welcome. Veronica, Mary, Shell, Priyank, Three Devil Women, Vicky, Girlfriend, Amit, Amanda in South Africa, Solly, Zolly, Six Bullets. Some names that I'm really not going to pronounce because I don't want to offend you. Okay, great. Thank you, Vicky. Thanks for letting me know that it sounded decent. All right, wonderful. India, Massachusetts, South Africa. A wonderful group of people coming together in the middle of the week to connect with our hearts, to connect with that part of ourselves that never shuts down, to go connect with the part of ourselves that was us before we were us, the spark that gave your life began in the heart. The ancient Taoists believe that at the time of conception, a little soul would leave the heavens, the Akashic records, and then it would place itself inside the human heart. And at that moment, with the first heartbeat, you were given your life purpose. You were given the instructions for your life, the bigger reason why you're here. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to begin your life, isn't it? With the awareness that your job is to remember that, to remember who you are, to remember why you're here, not to go to somebody that is going to tell you, but for you to begin the inner work, to begin to find your way inside that part of you that knows that you know the bigger reason why you're here. Now, one of the main reasons why many of us struggling connecting with that part of us, with this purpose, treasure, seed, whatever you want to call it, lies, is that the moment we initiate our journey into the heart, because so many of us have been disconnected from our hearts for such a long time, the moment we start inhabiting our hearts, we also start having to face the consequences of having abandoned or left our hearts, our bodies, our emotions for such a long time. So you find all traumas, all grudges, all the unlovingness you have been holding within yourself. And so to try to get to that treasure, pretty much like in the movie Indiana Jones or any movies where the hero has to go on a journey to find the treasure, you're going to have to then confront all the enemies, all the parts of you that don't want you to connect with that divine essence, all the parts of you that don't want you to manifest your highest potential, to live your life purpose. And so if you're someone who at some point in your life you decided, okay, I'm going to follow some kind of a spiritual path, I'm going to start connecting with my heart, I'm going to start meditating, raising my vibrational frequency, moving into a greater sense of love. And then you notice that all the unlovingness, trauma, woundedness, guilt, shame, all the things that have been buried deep inside of you, all of that begins to come out. It's important that you realize that the fact that all those things are showing up is an indication that you are moving closer towards this treasure within you. Don't think for a moment like, oh my God, all these things are showing up and I don't know what to do with them. Well, they're all the things that had been there for a very long time. In many ways, guarding the treasure inside of your heart. If you've ever seen one of those Buddhist temples, you're going to find, and the same thing happens with a lot of Catholic churches, you have these gargoyles, or you have like these demons on the outside, kind of like scaring you, going like, or lions or dragons. And they're guarding that sacred part, divine part inside of the temple where the treasure is held, where the sacrament is being held. So our hearts are in so many ways built like one of these temples. The flame, the divinity within the heart burning slowly at the center. And then all these demons, gargoyles, all these trauma, these wounds, all these things that are scary, guarding it, protecting it in so many ways. It's part of the journey. The key to it all is compassion, as we were speaking last week. The willingness to melt all these wounds, all this guilt, all this shame, all this resentment, all of this unforgiveness, all of this unforgiveness with compassion, by being compassionate towards yourself and also compassionate towards anyone that may have contributed to that trauma, that pain, that wounding within you. Especially those people that you open your heart to at some point. Because there was something about them when you first met them that within you, a tiny voice or a sense of knowing woke up to let you know, this is the person I want to be with. This is the person I want to share my life with. This is the person that I feel at home with. This is the person that I recognize as my divine counterpart, soulmate, twin flame, whatever you want to call it, divine companion. I don't care what you call it, but somebody with whom you felt you had a connection that transcended all sense of logic. And then because the connection that you felt was so real, so powerful, you open your heart to that person, and that person also opened their heart to you. Now, things in real life, in real relationships, are not like in the movies where two people open their hearts and then that's it. We walk into the sunset. Every time two people come together, there's a special alchemy that takes place. And that alchemy leads then to the two people using the relationship as a vehicle for healing and for growth, even though they may not even be aware of it at the time. So relationships are designed, especially of these kind, where, you know, there's a sense of alchemy or a bigger reason or a sense of attraction that goes beyond the chemistry of just purely just physical attraction. It's almost like a soul connection, but even beyond that. And so you open your heart to this person, the other person opens their heart to you. And then what happens when you open your heart? Is love what you're going to find there? Well, as I was just saying a little while ago, chances are you're going to find all the demons, the gargoyles, the monsters, the trauma, the wounding, everything that has been repressed, suppressed, ignored, disowned within you. And you are doing the same thing for the other person. So you are going to trigger the other person is going to trigger you. And so all the unlovingness will begin to surface. When that happens, it appears like the relationship is falling apart. It appears like you're losing the person. And then the natural tendency is to overcompensate by trying to hold on to them, right? Raise your hand if you've been there. If the moment you feel the other person pull you away or running away, you start freaking out, and then you start calling them, going after them. Hey, what's wrong with you? What did I do? What did I say? You start making it about you without realizing that it's actually happening on both sides. The unlovingness is coming out within you, and it's also coming out within the other person, leading then to the two people being in a situation where you can no longer see clearly, because all the unlovingness that is coming out, which may have been the result of some early childhood trauma, sexual abuse, emotional abuse, what knows? All the things that have been repressed and suppressed, and you pushed down, you ignored, all of that begins to make its way out. And what happens then when you're feeling abandoned, regret, guilt, shame, all these things? It clouds your vision, right? One of the rules in terms of emotional self-mastery is that emotions cloud the thinking. And so if you are operating from fear, for example, your thinking will become fear-based. You start thinking, oh, I have to protect myself against this person. And so at that moment, then you see the other person as your enemy. You see the other person as the person that is causing you all this pain, when the truth is, from a higher perspective, this person is just being themselves, just like you're being you. And what's coming out is the old pain. It's exactly what Eckhart Tolle refers to when he says relationship don't hurt. They bring out the hurt. They bring out already the pain, the resentment, the unforgiveness, the trauma, the fear of abandonment, like all the unneeded meds that you have as a child. It brings it all out. Why? So that it can be healed. So that both you and the other person can heal. So that may require sometimes that you take a step aside of the relationship, this thing that you call the relationship. And sometimes maybe even this may even look like the relationship coming to an end, like it feels like you lost the person forever. But the truth is that from a heart perspective, once you're in a relationship with someone, once there is a heart-to-heart connection, it will remain forever. You will continue to be in relationship with that person. That person will continue to live in your heart as your teacher, as a mirror, as a reflection. And so one of the things that I often recommend when people come to me explaining these dynamics is relationship, is to be compassionate for yourself and for the other person to begin with. What I mean by that is be kind towards the pain that is being triggered inside of you, and also be kind towards the other person whose pain is also being triggered as a result. You know, what you are experiencing is happening both ways. You're triggering each other. But what's happening is, as two people who are triggered at that moment become blind. They can't really see what is really going on. So earlier today, I was having a conversation with a friend, and we were speaking about something similar. And we came up with this metaphor. It becomes a kind of situation where it's like two people who don't know how to swim, and they're in the water and they're trying to rescue each other. That would make a really good sketch comedy, wouldn't it? Two people who don't know how to swim and they're in the water and they're trying to rescue each other. What are you going to get? Well, that will be probably very scary. Imagine somebody like trying to hold on to you and scratching you, and you're trying to hold on to them and then try and hold on to you. Well, you're just going to sink each other. So sometimes the best thing that two people in that kind of situation can do is to let go of each other. Swim to the shore, where it is safe, where you know nobody's going to try to sink you farther than you have already almost did. And there, regain your strength, regain your perspective. Find loving, supportive people, and begin to develop the skills of a good swimmer. Learn how to swim, develop new skills, so that as you then, with time, begin to approach again either the same relationship or a new relationship that arises, you now are not the same person that went into the previous relationship, because your skills, your capacity has changed. You have grown. You are a more loving, compassionate version of yourself. So that is the work. So develop the skills, feel compassion for yourself, for the other person. Continue to do whatever necessary healing you need to do, and then surrender the whole relationship, the outcome, to God. Surrender it to the larger intelligence that governs, directs, and orders all of life. The same intelligence that brought the two of you together knows what's in your heart and what's in the other person's heart. And it also knows the lessons you need to learn before the two of you, if that is the greater purpose, need to learn so that you can come together. This is the alchemy of love express in terms of relationship. Relationships are not painful, as Eckhart Tolle often reminds us. They bring out the pain that's already there. They give us an opportunity to heal. They give us an opportunity to become more whole. They bring us an invitation to develop a new set of skills, to learn how to swim in the turbulent waters, because being in relationship is being in turbulent waters. I find when I think about all the relationships that I've been in, different kinds of relationship, the one thing that has always helped me to move through is always asking myself the question, what is this person teaching me about? What do they come into my life to teach me about? I find that when I switch into that question, instead of trying to blame the other person or make them responsible for my pain, for my suffering, for whatever it is that I might be experiencing, if instead of doing that, if instead of playing that blame game or judging them as they're bad, they're evil, they're this, they're that, if instead of doing that, what I do is come back home to myself and I ask myself, okay, what are they trying to teach me about? What do they come into my life to teach me about? You're going to notice that in that answer lies your salvation. In that answer, you will then be redirected to where the work needs to be done. Now, for some of you, it may be about learning how to be more unconditional loving. For some of you, it might be learning how to be more patient or compassionate. For some of you, it might be learning how to surrender and let go. Learning how to surrender your need for control, manipulation, all of that. Or simply an invitation to heal a part of you that, as I was saying earlier, as a result of you opening your heart, has now come up so that it can be healed. So with that as a prelude and the beautiful song dedicated to Ananda Mayima, let's come into our hearts. Ananda Mayima, by the way, in case you guys don't know, it was an Indian saint who lived at the beginning of last century, who embodied the divine feminine in the same way in which Amma right now is holding that office of the divine feminine in India. So let's bring the awareness to the heart. Let's bring the awareness to the heart center. And let's work today with the sacred heart of the divine feminine, the divine mother. Now, if you're in India, you may want to invoke the presence of Ananda Mayi, the beloved Amma, or another deity that represents the divine feminine. If you're more of a Christian background, you can work with the Sacred Heart of Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene as well. Or you can work with another saint, another bodhisattva that represents the divine feminine. We bring the awareness to the heart. We gently close our eyes. And we take a few moments to feel into the heartbeat. Feel the heartbeat. Can you feel it in the heart? Can you feel it in the chest? As you listen to this heartbeat, imagine right there in the center of your heart, a small flame. the flame within your heart, invisible to the human heart, hidden, yet powerful enough to generate the largest electromagnetic field, and contain within it also the bigger reason why you're here. In the name of the Father, the Mother, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And in speaking on behalf of everyone who's present here today or anyone who's listening to the replay, I call forth the presence of divine love from our Heavenly Mother, our Universal Mother, Mother Mary, Ananda Mayimai, and all other saints, bodhisattvas that embody the divine feminine. Beloved Mother Mary, beloved Ananda Mayi, beloved Mother Yamaya, all deities that represent the feminine, divine, inhabit the flame of our hearts, inhabit our minds, our hearts, our wills. Let there be no chakra left untouched by the power of thy unconditional love. Beloved divine feminine, fill our breath with thy love. Hold us, cradle us, as a mother cradles a newborn child. May the Immaculate Presence that lives within your heart live now fully in our hearts, restoring the temple of the living Christ, the living Buddha, the Atman presence, the divine presence of love within our hearts, creating an immediate expanded field of Christed energy all around us. I feel, I see this field all around me, nurturing me, sustaining me, healing me. I give thanks, O Heavenly Mother, for your divine love, your divine compassion, for your patience. Divine Mother, source of all creation, from you begins and to you returns all of life. We are your children, the likeness of your reflection. You are the one that keeps us safe and warm at night. The one that guides us, the one that protects us, the one that reminds us when we forget who we are. You give us your love, compassion, and understanding, revealing to us the truth inside our hearts. We bow to thee, O Sacred Mother, and like little children, become receptive to your wisdom, your guidance, and your love. As we silently recite the following mantra. Ambe Ma. The words Ambe Ma in Sanskrit mean Divine Mother, Mummy. As you continue to breathe in and out of the heart, hold an image of that being that represents the Divine Mother to you. And see yourself in the presence of their love as you gently recite the mantra Ambe Ma. Ambe Ma. Ambe Ma. Ambe Ma. Anbe Ma, 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 Anbe Ma. Anbe Ma, 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 Anbe Ma. Anbe Ma, 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 Anbema, 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 Anbema. Divine Mother, source of all creation. From you begins and to you returns all of life. We are your children, the likeness of your reflection. You are the one that keeps us safe at night, gives us her love, compassion, and understanding. Forgives us when we forget who we are. Divine Heavenly Mother, we ask in the name of Jesus the Christ, Gautama the Buddha, and all avatars, in the name of the archangels, that you place your divine mantle of protection over planet Earth and all of God's children, that you strengthen our hearts, that you help us unify our hearts in one, that we may together expand the energetic grid of the Christ consciousness around planet Earth, expanding, blazing the light of Christ within the heart of every son and daughter of God, that the living Christ within each person may awaken in a way that is perfect and ideal for everyone, that all our wounds that are coming out for healing may be healed by the grace of thy love, compassion, and forgiveness, that we may be liberated by the power of love itself, and that if it is God's will, that we may be reunited with those persons who have showed up out of love in our lives for our healings, that we may learn the lessons that they came here to teach us, and that the will of God may be fulfilled through and as our relationship. I ask for this, that it may be done according to the will of God, so that God and God's love may be glorified in each one of our hearts and in the heart of humanity. And so it is, and it is so. Amen. Okay. We're getting now to the end of our time together. How are you feeling now? I'm feeling pretty grounded and very loving and very peaceful right now. Susan says, thank you. This message was beautiful. You're welcome, Susan. And yes, you're welcome, Six Bullets, Shell, all of you. Yeah, well, the truth is, bringing the guitar was like a last minute thing. I find that music, without a doubt, has the capacity to help me and most people I work with to help us connect with the heart in a really fast way. It bypasses the conscious mind. And so, as a going away piece of advice or recommendation, I want to invite you to, whenever you're feeling discouraged, whenever you're feeling down and about, and put some of your favorite music, some mantras if you like. Go for a walk, put your headphones on, and then give yourself permission to start chanting some of these mantras. Any mantra that uses the word om, ma, ha, believe it or not, these are all syllables that open up the heart. It's one of the reasons why people feel so good and almost like high after you've been chanting the mantra om or or ma or ha, 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 sounds that open up the heart. Remember that as these emotional wounds, trauma, things that lay dormant within the confines of the heart begin to make their way out, what you want to do is, rather than closing, contracting, is you want to open up. You want to create space so that more and more and more of these emotions can move through you. So chanting mantras is a wonderful way to say, okay, I'm going to stay open. I'm going to continue to hold the space within me so that in this vibration, I can bring some love and healing. I remember when I first started doing this work, one of the things that would happen to me is I'd find myself reciting mantras or playing a song and then just crying and crying and crying and crying and just purging and purging and purging. And so at the very beginning, it may feel a bit like that, like as all these old aspects of yourself are coming up to the light, being touched by the light of unconditional love and compassion. It is the vibration, the energy of the mantra that's helping you keep or sustain the energy. All right. Thank you, Isabel, Jennifer. Just reading the last comments that are coming up. Deborah, Yogesh, Cindy, Emily. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being with me today. I hope you're walking away feeling more grounded in your heart and with a greater awareness of what it feels like to be in the presence of the divine feminine when you evoke it from the depth of your own heart. Please take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. And as always, I send you all of my love. See you next week. Bye-bye.